We back in the lab, we making some noise, so go turn your decibels up. Black skin, white coat, oh no, who was nice as us? Made Jimison, really told us no limits, so we about to take us up. Went from mixing in the kitchen to the lab, and nah, I can make this up. Whoa! B-SCI, be scientist, B-SCI, be scientist. We shining a light on the people of color to show them how fly it is. B-SCI, be scientist, B-SCI, be scientist. We back in the lab with white coats on our back, trying to show what time it is. Hey.
And welcome back to the B-Scientist Podcast, a podcast produced by the Black Science Coalition Institute. When you hear this noise, that is our in-podcast citation. So head over to b-sci.org/B-Scientist to check out all of our citations for each episode that we've ever done. My name is Jordan Chapman, geoarchaeologist, and as always, we have the dope chemist herself,
Jana Carpenter.
And we're back from, I guess, like a 2 to 3 week break.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Like 2-3 weeks.
It feels like definitely missed podcasting it up with my favorite geoarchaeologist and geochemist, Jordan Chapman.
Thanks, appreciate it. I guess that was our Juneteenth break. I'm trying to make it a thing now because I mean that's something that happened. You know, Juneteenth is now a federal holiday. I mean, shout out to Juneteenth. I guess I don't know.
Indeed. I mean, I'm glad we can celebrate it federally. I would love to see more done, and I think it's a good opportunity to continue to uplift and highlight those of the diaspora. And so shout out to everyone, and I hope you were able to celebrate and or recognize the day. So
did you celebrate? Or did you do anything?
I celebrated a friend of mine, Sydney Hayes, and her birthday happens to fall on Juneteenth.
Oh, dope. Nice.
Fittingly, we celebrated by playing out The Matrix. It was a Matrix themed party.
Okay.
So it felt very fitting for the time.
Nice.
So
that's dope.
Did you celebrate?
Not specifically. I mean, I tried to only eat like from like a black owned restaurant that day, like just to, show love. I do want to make it more of a thing though, like from now on. I mean, I've been trying to do this for the last couple of years, but from now on, just like there's more community around, more black people, like just doing like cookouts and stuff like that. And then also when, it's a lot safer, because I mean, it's quote unquote safe now, but not like super safe. So when that becomes a thing again, like I'd like to do that a lot more.
Yeah, there's a local restaurant called Rashi's Cuisine, which is Jamaican food here in Athens, Georgia. Wow. If you want some great, amazing Jamaican food to like really feed your soul.
Oh, yeah.
Highly, highly, highly recommend. And they also had a community event the same day on Juneteenth.
I meant to go and I didn't. How was it?
I didn't go either. I was in Atlanta. I really wish I could have been there though. I do think the weather kind of
it was
the locations changed a little bit, and so I think it moved to a different community center. But it was, I mean, from what I heard, it was really cool. And District Representative Mariah Parker was there in attendance, and so yeah, I mean, I think it is important to just continue to find those spaces of community that you can give back to and be a part of at the same time. So yeah, I agree. Right. I want to do a lot more of that going forward.
Same. But yeah, we got some other stuff to talk to you guys about today. For example, before we really jump into some of that stuff, just a quick couple of updates. If you didn't listen to our last episode, we started sponsorship tiers. One of which is simply just donating anywhere between $1 to $100 to just help support with some of the things that are going here at B-SCI. There are some other sponsorship tiers, but we're just going to talk about that one right now, because with that one, if you donate to B-SCI at on b-sci.org, you can get your name on the podcast. We will choose a random name that shows up in our donations that month, and we will say your name and say, hey, thanks for being scientists with us. So it's just that simple. You can be famous after that, and all your friends will know. So why not do that? Jenny, you want anything to add to my really bad plug right there?
No, that was great. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's so important to, like we just said, to give back to our community. And the only way that we can continue to do that is with the support of those who've been supporting us since the beginning of B-SCI. And
Mm-hmm.
so we would greatly appreciate your support and just, sharing and liking and letting people know about B-SCI also does so much good, I think, for us. So yeah, if you don't have it to give, please share and let people know about B-SCI so that we can continue to grow this community.
Cool. And then we are also working on a magazine. So if you donate to B-SCI, your donation helps goes towards that. That is also part of this one of the sponsorship tiers. It's in one of the tiers. I can't remember which one it is right now. But if you donate, it's significantly more than $100. But if you were feeling very generous, that would mean that your name would also appear in our B Scientist magazine, which is going to debut sometime this summer. Some of us here at B-SCI are currently preparing articles and things of that nature to put into the magazine. Some of them are more research oriented, such as Jenna, we were just talking about it. Yours is going to be some of them more personal, like mine's will be a little bit more personal, and then some of them are just kind of like things you see in other magazines, like top 10, whatever. Which me and Chad are working on something like that, and there's some other ones that are going to come out. But yeah, it's going to happen sometime this summer. As you can imagine, writing this and also doing some of the other things we did with B-SCI and also other life events, kind of it slows it up a little bit.
It's hard to keep track of everything.
Yeah,
It's you got to give yourself a break sometimes.
sometimes.
That's important. But yeah, so the B Gold membership tier would provide a recognition as a donor on the magazine, as well as the B Platinum tier. So yeah, I think it'll be really, really good once people see how hard we've been working to get this to fruition. So look out for that and please post something if you feel fit to do so.
Mm-hmm.
We can create something great.
Right.
I feel like I'm in a Kellogg's commercial. I don't know why I just did that.
Yeah, it does feel like doing like advertisement work. It's a little
Yeah.
strange. We'll work through it though.
Yeah, and I mean that also reminds me of the 828 coming up as well.
Yes.
So
We are going to be part
I
of Give 828 this year again. That was our first ever fundraiser actually, which we did last year. It was pretty much like a month after we got our 501c3 status, which I guess we're coming up our anniversary for our 501c3 status. Which is
that's exciting.
crazy to think about. It's wow, it's been a year. That's wow. But yeah, it was almost been a
Yeah.
year since we've been official 501c3. So we're going to be part of Give 828 again. Um, if you don't know, Give 828 is hosted by the Young Black and Giving Back Institute, and there are, I don't know how many other Black nonprofits are part of the event, but there are a lot, including one that is also a science organization called SimLink, which is based out of Atlanta. And I highly suggest that you check out SimLink if you haven't on Instagram. They are amazing. But Give 828 allows us Black nonprofits to kind of have a day where we kind of get the spotlight. And strangely enough, August 28th is a pretty historic day for a bunch of different reasons in African American history. One, Martin Luther King gave his Have a Dream" speech on 8/28, so the March on Washington. I also believe, and I might be wrong, but I think Emmett Till happened on 8/28. It's just like a bunch of crazy coincidences that happen on that date, which makes it a pretty opportune day to give back to Black nonprofits. So we'd appreciate a donation that day. I'm sure as that day come up, we'll have more announcements for you guys. We might even host an event. It might be like a podcasting thing. It might be just some social media stuff, but we'll let you guys know. just keep sticking with us. And then we also want to give you some news updates that have something to do with science. For one, there was a building collapse in Miami, which was unfortunate, but it was also an engineering problem. So, Jen, I think you might have a couple things on that.
Yeah, so obviously there are no definitive answers as of yet for the absolute cause of the building collapse. But what we know so far is that there might have been a series of events leading up to the collapse that explain what happened on the day. And so before I even talk about this, I just want to kind of come with some reverence, and I just want to reach out to those people who were affected by this and those who even aren't affected by this, because it's a really tragic event that should not have happened. But just, sending out some love to those families who've been affected. But looking at some of the structural integrities of the building from the videos that were captured on that day, they have kind of mentioned some of the stages of the collapse, starting with the pool area, which would lend itself to maybe meaning that the building had some foundational issues, because after the pool kind of caved in on itself, the center of the building collapsed, and then some of the outer east facing and north facing parts of the building collapsed, leaving the west facing building standing after the ordeal. And as of now, I think the numbers are pretty staggering. I believe 64 people have been recovered that are no longer with us. And there are still several missing. And so it's a pretty terrible thing to have happened. There have been some reports of audit being done on the building's integrity a few years back, and that it did not receive a good rating, and that indeed they requested a serious maintenance overview for the building that did not go through because it would have cost millions of dollars. But the safety of the people that lived there obviously was not taken seriously. So we see what the aftermath of that has been. And so I'm really raging with anger,
Yeah.
and just fully sad about what happened, because it does seem like it could have been avoided.
I think they evacuated another building nearby that was
Yeah.
constructed by, or either constructed or managed by the same people who had to do with the first one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Miami is right there on the coast, and we're in the middle of a huge hurricane season, and so
Mm-hmm.
there's some environmental implications about what's going on as well. The erosion rates have grown significantly over the years, but especially this year, we're starting to see environmentalists tell people, you need to watch out for global warming with the rising water levels. And people hear things like, oh, 1% change in water levels, and think that's a small percentage. But you kind of are starting to see some of the devastation that comes with these seemingly small percentages of environmental changes. So,
Right.
yeah, that's just something that to think about and kind of sit with, because this is real. This is really happening.
It's
And
happening.
in Cali, there are certain parts of Cali that it's up to 114 degrees right now, like today.
Yeah, the heat dome, I think is what they're calling it. That's, I think there were some places like even up in like the northwestern part of the U.S., which is not ready for extreme heat events, and they were all just like, "What is this?" In fact, I think in Canada, which they had some like crazy like forest fires going on up there. So I think this is just another like, I don't know what people are. What's the question at this point? Is climate change real? Yes. Are we going to do something about it? Crickets. Apparently, it doesn't make any sense. So I don't just. We need to do something. I think people are more receptive to doing something now. but the onus can't just be on the individuals. It has to also be corporations and government officials who have the power to mobilize and control large
Right.
swaths of the population, and then also the international efforts. Like it's not just one country. It's all the major countries that you hear about in the news affecting this process. So it needs to be a widespread effort.
And I just remembered also in the news
Mm-hmm.
that, there's ocean fires happening.
Oh yeah, that one was wild. That like I remember I was like on my Twitter timeline and I saw it. I was like, you gotta fuck up real bad to set the
So
ocean on
bad.
fire.
So bad.
It's crazy.
And it's because oil rigs are
Yep.
getting hit on the ocean floor
Mm-hmm.
because we gotta have that oil. You know what I'm
You gotta have
saying?
that oil.
Gotta have it.
Mm-mm-mm.
Um, and now look at us.
It's setting the ocean on fire.
We set the literal ocean on fire. There is no telling what kind of environmental damage that is going to cause.
Yeah, that I have no idea what that. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's gonna look like. I don't know, but like, wow, again, like that's like when on Friday when like how you get fired on your day off. How do you set the ocean on fire? How do you do this? What is going on? Don't make
Yeah,
sense.
it's bad. It's bad. And we always talk about how Mars is like the sister planet of Earth and
Mm-hmm.
how it used to have beautiful oceans and things like that. And all of a sudden, there must have been some kind of a change in the environment for it to turn to a desert planet just like
Mm-hmm.
that. And it's like, okay, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of symbolism happening here. I can read
Mm,
between the lines. Like, do we really want to look like Mars in 50 years? I think not.
probably not, but like I mean, we not protecting the planet though. So
Honestly.
how you set the
So
ocean
yeah,
on fire?
how really do you? How?
Like we understand it was oil and the oil set on fire, but then it
Yeah.
was like because but how this just wow. This isn't the first time there's been an oil spill. Like
No.
there's how many fucking oil spills? It's just like get your shit together. Like just figure this out. Like what is the problem?
God
I
forbid
don't
we
know.
have renewable energy. God
Yeah,
forbid.
God forbid. Like because why? It's just why would we do that? That it makes too much sense to just be like, you know what? Let's just figure out solar energy or wind energy and just be happy.
Yeah.
That's just too much to ask for.
Yep. I could go on for days about
Yeah,
that, but
we got other stuff to talk about.
we do.
Yeah, that really grinds my gears. I think it's grinding yours too, as you can as you can tell.
It is because it's just a domino effect, and
It
it's
really
making
is.
me
It's so
think of
bad.
other things that are happening currently. And I'm like, well, I don't have 6 hours to talk about this, so let me
Yeah.
just keep it short. Because other things that are happening right now, we all thought we were in the clear with COVID-19.
Yep.
Restrictions being lifted. Georgia just lifted all COVID restrictions that were in place at the very beginning of the pandemic.
Mhm. Mhm.
Those have all been lifted.
Mhm.
And lo and behold, and I hope I don't get this wrong, but the SARS CoV 2 B.1.617.2 Delta variant is now wreaking havoc all over the place. And
Yep.
not just in the US.
Oh no.
It's been known to have originated in India.
Mhm.
Um, but the rate of transmission is so high with this variant that it is already showing up in the United States. I believe parts of Oklahoma where some of the first cases were noted after a big sporting event held indoors. Many of the attendees were unvaccinated, and as a result, many of those people have now been tested positive with this new variant, which has been shown to have 20 to 53% higher transmissibility amongst people in close approximation. So
Mhm.
that's terrifying.
That's terrifying.
And of course, there's now a lot of research is going underway to figure out, okay, how effective are the vaccines going to be with combating the this new variant that's a little
Right.
bit different from the other variants that we've seen before. So, um, yeah, I mean, absolutely make sure you're vaccinated. At the same time, you know, move with caution. No one has ever said, oh, the pandemic is over. Like, this is not, that just hasn't happened. We've gotten like more relaxed with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I certainly have after getting vaccinated and fully
Mm-hmm.
inoculated uh, the 2 weeks after my second dose. However, this is something very serious that we should take seriously. And just like the first wave of this pandemic, we don't know anything about what this means yet. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, just that, you know, I don't know where I saw this statistic, but um, basically that the places where there are the highest number of cases and deaths, and then also concurrently the places where the Delta variant is the most widespread, are all places where uh, vaccination efforts are not as good as the rest of the country. So these places are where people are just making that decision that they're not going to get vaccinated, and then they are the ones being the most affected by it, which makes absolutely 100% sense. That if the current vaccines are effective against COVID, that they would protect most of the population from getting COVID and similar variants for at least a little while. Um, and if you don't get the vaccine, then if it's the novel coronavirus that we saw in 2019 or a variant, that if you don't get vaccinated, then you're going to be part of the population that's very much susceptible to getting COVID. And it's very simple. It's not hard. It's not easy. There's no complications to it. The one that frustrates me the most is that, again, and this is just seeing stuff online, is that I saw something earlier that was like, what is the vaccine supposed to do? And someone replied in the comments like, oh, it's just a form of population control. And I'm like, yeah, um, it's a population control for those of you not getting the vaccine. That's the population control, because first of all, I think 47% of the country is fully inoculated. So half the country is pretty much inoculated. Not half the country is dead, but the places where people are dying the most is where people are not getting vaccines. It's like, you got to do a lot of mental gymnastics to get to that conclusion, that
Right.
it's population control for the people who are getting the vaccine. So that's frustrating.
That's a good point too. And also, I mean, if you have just taken any elementary biology course, you would know that the reason why we have all these variants coming out is because it's mutating. It's
Mm-hmm.
getting stronger. And
Mm-hmm.
why is it getting stronger? Because people are letting their guard down, not
Mm-hmm.
getting vaccinated, getting COVID, and it just keeps mutating and getting stronger. You know, I feel like it seems so simple, of course,
It seems really
to
simple.
just to
I
get
mean,
vaccinated.
and I
But
don't want to, throw people's concerns under the bus about the vaccine. Yes,
right, right.
okay, you have concerns. You don't know it's going to be safe for you. I understand that. I also understand if you're going to talk about systematic racism, institutional problems in this country that lead to many people, especially Black and other underrepresented groups or underserved groups, from wanting to do this. But at a certain point, you do have to take all that information and I'm not going to say make a better decision, because I think people take that and mean, oh, I'm just going to make the decision that works better for me. And while it might work better for you, it might not work better for the 10 other people you might unintentionally pass on a variation to, who also don't have, who might have compromised immune systems, or just also decided to not get vaccinated. So it's not just make a better decision, it's make the right decision, which is to be vaccinated, and understand that once you're vaccinated, we can go fight these systematic problems, but not, we can do it before you get vaccinated, but you should probably be vaccinated while you're doing that. So it could work a little bit smoother for you.
Right. And I think that's why it's so important to have more people that look like us, Black and brown people,
Mm-hmm.
in STEM,
Right.
specifically in medicine, in public
Mm-hmm.
health, to be able to talk about these things, because it's a lot easier to understand something if you're talking to someone who looks like you and who has lived experiences that reflect some of your own, you know? So I think the more we have that kind of conversation within our own community, the easier it will be. And the easier it will be to follow the science, because we have people who are actually doing the science, doing the work, to make sense of all of this. But I again, like you were saying, it is still so completely understandable to find this kind of a difficult thing to navigate, because we have a really rich history of systemic racism. So that is so important to recognize, and call out when we see. So
Yeah, and I guess that's a good segue to get into a couple of the other things that Jenna and I have been involved in since B-SCI went on break, before, right around the time of Juneteenth. So there was the STEM Noir conference, which you might have heard us talk about in the podcast. Dr. Chanel Tolson was part of the organizing committee for STEM Noir, but Jenna and Janae were also representing B-SCI during the conference. So can you talk about that a little bit for us?
yeah, of course. What an exciting conference to be a part of. I just felt so happy to even be a part of it. It was a really great turnout. A lot of people were really excited to be there. So many great sessions. And it was at such good times to attend as well, which was really nice. And just seeing, like, following Dr. Tolson, like seeing her with the committee
Mm-hmm.
of hardworking ladies making this possible, it was really like encouraging, because they put on something really great, and really important for Black women in science and STEM to kind of come together, and recognize each other. And so now I think, after the fact, I'm starting to, like, I followed a bunch of people that kind of met through the conference,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're shouting each other out, lifting each other up. Like, it's just really nice to see that, because I think it just makes the community are much stronger. I don't know the right terminology to use sometimes, but
I don't know. I don't know how
um,
to talk. I understand.
but yeah, it was really, really awesome. We had a lot of people turn up to the booth.
Mm-hmm.
I think people really loved the video that Jordan,
Oh,
that
nice.
you put together. It looked really nice on the exhibitor profile. So many other great exhibitors that were there. It was just really awesome. And I really shout out to Janae for keeping up with my massive emails that I would send, like, hey, do you remember if I was supposed to do this or that? So thank you so much, Janae, for being patient with me, and Jordan for being patient, and everyone for coming and attending and interacting with us. And I can't wait for STEM Noir 2022, because
Mm-hmm.
I just know it's going to be great, and I already can't wait. So,
Hopefully
yeah.
it's in person for you guys. That'd be dope.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, we got to figure out this other stuff first, but if it's in person, then that'd be amazing.
Oh, yeah. That'd be really cool. And
Mm-hmm.
also, in talking to my roommate about STEM Noir in general, I just found out, like, everyone knows about Dr. Tolson's chocolate company now,
Oh,
Simplicity.
that
Simplicity
chocolate is
chocolate is so
amazing.
good.
It's so good.
So,
You
if I
gotta.
didn't do before, shout out again to Dr. Tolson for, like, creating such delicious chocolate. What were you gonna say,
Mm-hmm.
Jordan?
I was just gonna agree with you. That's the because I had a piece because you had some chocolate during our last recording session, and I was like, oh, can I have a piece? And then I ate pretty much the whole thing. So
Which I
like
appreciated because I would have eaten the whole thing and that would have just been an issue. But it's so good.
it's so
Like,
good. It's
I've
crazy.
never had chocolate taste like chocolate before, I
Mm-mm.
realized, because wow, like it was delicious.
It was truly this is not me and Jenna bullshitting right now. That shit was amazing.
For real.
The first
Yeah.
bite was like, what the fuck is this? This is crazy. What I have never experienced chocolate like this before. It was like I've been like this is I've been to Hershey Park in Pennsylvania. I can tell you right now, none of the chocolate in Hershey Park was better than that chocolate that Dr.
Agreed.
Ellen Tolston has. It is not. It is a far and away better. Simplicity chocolate is way better than Hershey's Park. I'm sorry,
Oh
it was
yeah.
better.
Oh no, that's so true. I also went there to
Mm,
Hershey, Pennsylvania before, and I was just like, what was I eating before
no, I
this?
don't
Like,
know.
honestly, because other chocolate, as we all know, is mostly sugar, especially
Mhm.
Hershey's. Um, no disrespect to Hershey's, but
No
disrespect to
disrespect to Hershey.
Hershey's.
You're still good chocolate, but I'm just saying simplicity chocolate
Yeah,
is good. It's better. I'm
like,
sorry.
because the other chocolate, like, you can taste the sugar. Like, that's all you taste, really.
Hmm.
And my teeth usually hurt because, you grow like sweets. So
Right.
I'm like, whoa, this is a lot of sugar. And my teeth are
Uh-huh.
yelling at me. When I
Hmm.
had Simplicity chocolate, it was just like so smooth and my teeth didn't hurt. It was like eating real chocolate. Like, I know I'm
Hmm.
saying that a lot, but it was like, wow, chocolate without it tasting like just sugar.
Right.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, you gotta
I
get
can't
simplicity
say enough
chocolate.
good things.
You gotta do it. You have to do it. It's crazy. But moving on from simplicity chocolate, some other things that were going on with other Black scientists was I'm going to go on a limb here and say it was the Black and X conference is probably one of the largest gatherings for Black scientists ever. I feel like that's going on a limb, but I also don't know what else could compare to it. Maybe some like Nesby conferences and things like that. But considering not just the type of scientists, but the amount, I would think Black and X was a pretty large conference, and um, pretty much that happened like no less than a week after Snem Noir. Um, I was a moderator for Dr. Tolson was a moderator for one event. I moderated another event, and then Janae moderated like the next day. So B-SCI was very well represented at Black and X, and I'm happy that we were all part of it. There was a Nature article about it. There was a Wired.com article about it, and I was in that. And but it was just wow, like it was amazing. Sitting in on so many Black and X meetings leading up to it, because for those who don't know, Black and X is it's a community, and maybe more in the future, but it started last year during Black Birders Week. It kind of blossomed from there, and now it's just a huge community of many different types of scientists and many different types of organizations, some of who are just communities in themselves. Some of them are moving towards more of the nonprofit status like B-SCI, including the larger Black and X organization. And we were just glad to be there. It was an amazing experience, like getting to talk. It's always just nice to talk to other Black scientists who are kind of going through the same thing, because if you would have asked me a year or two ago, I'm like, I know B-SCI, I know those people, but and even then before then, it was like I don't really know anybody. So just to see this community just take this upward path has been crazy and amazing.
That's so exciting, yeah. And I finally found the Black and Kim Society, so
Oh,
I'm like
nice, nice.
very excited about that. But yeah,
Hmm.
no, I feel like there's so much coming out of Black and X, and I think I mean, I'm just really excited to see what else is to come because, yeah, just from hearing you talk about it, uh, the community, like I just love
Hmm.
it. So
It's crazy, like just in being part of B-SCI, like unintentionally, it seems like we've met so many of people who are already kind of doing their own thing in different parts before Black, because it took a second after the Black Birder week before everyone kind of came together. But somehow, some way, so many, like, I would say, I know I was encountering people who are working with different Black and X communities before like those actual meetings started. Dr. Tolson definitely was, because some people who were at STEM Noir were keynote speakers at Black and X. I think Dr. Keelan Bishop was one of the keynote speakers at for STEM. I think she started STEM Noir, or at least a co-founder, and she was a keynote speaker at Black and X. And then Janae, being part of Black and Neuro, was already working with. It's just crazy that like we were all kind of, and then I helped organize Black and Archeo. Like there was just already these crazy connections going on, so it just felt real organic for B-SCI to also be so well represented there. And I'm happy to have helped. We donated some money to Black and X too, so happy to do that. I think we did. I think it was the Black and Kim actually. So so yeah, it's good stuff.
Hey,
It's just
yeah, that's what
look at
it's
that.
about. That's what it's
Mm-hmm.
about. Like, it's so important to have like the sections of like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Black and Chem, Black and Neuro, Black and Archeo, but it's like being able to come together as well. There's something so special about like the inclusion of everyone, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and like being able to feel seen.
Yeah. I mean, there's also Black and Geosci, which was another one that I like, and started encountering some of those people, and it's just like I've been to the National Association for Black Geoscientists, which is very helpful, but just to encounter even more Black geoscientists, because again, like if Black and Archeo is, it's like if there's already not a lot of Black archaeologists, there's not a lot of Black geologists. There's even less Black geoarchaeologists. So like just to encounter those people was just like finally.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's important.
So on some lighter notes, I saw an article that I think be fun to kind of end the podcast on, and it's science hypotheticals. And I think it'd be interesting to hear me and Jenna's take on some crazy hypothetical questions from a scientist's perspective. And this is from Live Science, which is a science media outlet. And so I'm going to just put these out here, and me and Jenna are going to kind of discuss them. So one that's be interesting is, what if there is no gravity? So from a scientist's perspective, Jenna, how would you feel about there not being any gravity?
Interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
I think my first concern would be that I think our joints and bones would kind of
Ooh.
at first be really happy about that, but also start to degrade a little bit over time. From what I think I understand about space travel, is that
Yeah.
zero gravity, you really have to like stay active, or your muscle mass will go away. Like
Mm-hmm.
your bone density changes a little,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just on gravity. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Now, I think you're right. I think that from what my understanding too is that like astronauts on the International Space Station, f- after prolonged missions on the International Space Station, one, they get a little bit taller, like I think up to like 2 inches or something like that, because their vertebrae and like stuff starts to separate, because just there's nothing keeping it down basically. And then yeah, like they experience a lot of muscle weakness and like atrophy basically after um just just no gravity. So that's one concern. The second concern, I think, and maybe you were about to get to this, is that where am I floating to, Jenna? I'm not on Earth anymore. Where am I
That's a good
going?
point. That's a sound
I
point.
don't know. Like, just imagine there just being like, oh, like you're just imagine like there just being no gravity, and then it just turns off while you're walking to class one day. Next thing you know, the moon is right in front of you, and it's also coming at you, and you don't. And if that's the case, you did. So then it's like also like, where's everything else going? Is the sun come? It's just a lot of questions going on, a lot of fear, and probably not that much longer to live. Honestly, it got real
Probably
dark. I
not.
apologize, but that's probably what's going to happen.
I mean, I was just like, but also if I'm feeling really anxious and someone's like trying to have a conversation with me, I could just blast off.
Oh, like
You know
if
what I
you could just
mean?
turn it off whenever you wanted to.
Yeah, I'd be like,
Oh
ooh,
yeah.
I'm loving this conversation, but I gotta blast off. And then I just kind of like roll out.
I think I would be in class a lot. Sometimes I'm late for class. I think I would be to class a lot earlier because I'd just turn it off and fly somewhere and then just land and be like, oh yeah, no traffic.
That would be pretty nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I'm chronically late to
Yeah.
everything. So that would be definitely helpful. Um, Especially like if I want to get like if I'm thirsty and I want some water, but I don't feel like getting out of bed, I could just be like, it's totally fine. Let's just, you know what I mean?
No, for
So
sure.
if it's gonna
I
help me be more lazy, I'm down for it. But
yes.
if it is gonna make me blast off into the moon, I don't know. I'm kind of into that. No, 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 no.
I
But
want to go. It'd be the fastest way to get to the moon for sure. So I get that.
yeah, but also like becoming super cold at like
Yeah.
instantly, that would probably suck. But hey, worth it. Okay, let me chill. Let me chill.
Yeah, maybe. Now that's good. Okay, let's see what else we got here. So one that I saw that's dark, but and interested. Some people are going to be really happy about it, probably, and some people are going to be really sad. I'm part of the crowd that's going to be really sad about it if this were ever to happen. The question is what if all the cats in the world suddenly died? I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I like cats. I like cats and dogs. I don't try to discriminate when it comes to the two. It's just like if it's a good cat, it's a good cat. I like cats. If it's a good dog, I like good dogs. I don't like the idea of just them all dying. However, I think it's an interesting question because cats are also very bad for birds. So that is where I'm like, okay, do we want species diversity or just feral cats? And that's where I'm like, that's a struggle.
Well, personally, I don't think I would survive because my
Mm.
guy gives me so much serotonin that just does
Yeah.
not get produced in my brain
Hmm.
that things will be very bad for me
Hmm.
mentally.
No, for sure.
Especially like cat videos during the day,
Cat
another little
videos.
boost of serotonin that I need in my life. Um, I do think about that all the time though. Like I can't remember what island it is outside of Australia that
Yeah.
like pretty much got their only that one land bird was
Hmm.
just extinct after someone let a cat on the island, which is pretty tragic.
It's tragic.
But nah, I couldn't. I still I mm.
On the other hand, if all the cats, so there's good and bad to that. Like, so yes, cats do destroy bird populations, and they can do so really, really fast because they're just cats are just too good at being good at hunting at the thing we want them to do. But we like when they kill mice and rats because if they did all die at once right now, guaranteed in a week you will not be able to walk anywhere without seeing a mouse or a rat anywhere. I
That
guarantee if
is
you live in a
very
city,
true.
it's a wash for you. You seeing them everywhere. You just walking down this, especially in the subways. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, like Philly does not have a big subway system, like not as big as like New York per se, or even like it has a like the track system is long, but it's not intricate. Like even like MARTA is a little bit more intricate than Philly's. But I'll tell you this. I've seen some mice in them subway stations, and I done seen a lot. I will guarantee they will be running around everywhere. Bugs,
Nope.
mice, rats. We need the cats for something.
I literally just this morning my cat like killed a fly and I was like, good job. You
Yeah.
get some treats. I'm proud of you. Um yeah, no, not a huge fan of mice or rats.
Or bugs, honestly.
Or bugs. Uh no thanks.
Hmm.
Yeah, because I've heard up in New York like rats had their own Metro card and stuff. Like that's buck wild to me. Like, nah, I'm
They
not
really do.
okay. So to imagine that problem being worse than it already is,
Yeah.
no, I'm good. I'm good. So I feel like big cities and some farms. Oh, yeah, no, it's not possible. Because I've heard
Mm-mm.
of barn cats too, which are great for like just being a barn cat. I don't actually know what
Yeah,
barn cats do. I think they're
I'm
just
gonna
there
guess they
for
do the same.
aesthetic.
I'm gonna guess they're the same.
Yeah, yeah, they probably also keep the mice away from
Hmm.
livestock and stuff.
I mean,
But
that's part of how they got domesticated. Is they were like really good at doing that. They were just like, oh, you got a mouse problem, I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna just eat them all. Thank you. And then we were like, that's good. Just stick with us. Like, and we had cats. They like there's like some interesting cat theories out there about how humans domesticated cats. And one is that we didn't really domesticate cats because most cats are born in the wild. Like, two is that they domesticated us because they were like, oh, like you guys started farming, which increased your mouse problem. So we're gonna come over here and fix your mouse problem, and now you work for us, basically. So it's
yeah, if anything, we should be afraid of cats saying no more humans. They are
yeah,
useless. Because I could
because
definitely see that happening.
what if they teamed up with the lions? Then what are we gonna do? I mean, we done after that. It's over.
It's done.
I don't want that
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, nah. Cats are way too smart.
Yeah.
Um,
Because we can't. I mean, we could team up with the gorillas and all that stuff, but I think the lions probably got us washed out. To be honest.
yeah, they're really fast and really good at hunting.
Hmm.
I'm good personally,
Yeah.
so
You just gotta let them live. I don't want to kill the cats anyway, but I think there's some
no.
real. I think there's some pros to just not fucking with that problem. Honestly.
Yeah, no, I think pretty much all of my nightmares are that. Like, that's it. Just makes me sad to think about.
Hmm.
So, nah, I'm good.
No, that's fair. Okay, one last one before we wrap it up for this episode. What if Earth were twice as big?
You know the saying, "More money, more problems."
Fair.
That's how I feel about that. That's
Mm.
like my gut feeling. um,
I like the idea of it being bigger and more places to go to,
mhm.
but also like so I think it depends on the logistics of how that would work, right? Like if there's
Yeah,
more
like
places,
is it literally equivalent? Like like everything is spatially doubled, or
right?
is it like
Is
the
it?
ocean is 2 times deeper? Because that. mm.
There's also 2 times as much chance for like different animals to start, like or like different paths of evolution, probably because there's more space to like um get into.
More space
Which
for activities.
yeah,
I
so
feel
I don't.
like
Go ahead.
I kind of feel like if we had the same human population but double the
Hmm.
size, I could see that working very well in terms of like just general ecosystem surviving better
Yeah.
because that would mean less human interaction.
Hmm.
But if we're doubling everything, like if we're Noah's arking this, like I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know.
This makes me think about the Thanos problem in Avengers Endgame, where it's like which I have a lot of problems with Thanos. Like I always tell people when I start talking about Avengers Endgame that if I ever saw Thanos in real life, I gotta fight him on sight. I don't care if I'm gonna lose. I don't care if he gonna wash me. We gotta fight on sight because his whole I'm gonna reduce the population of everything by half doesn't make sense to me because you're not fixing the problem. You just if anything you might have brought the problem Tom, but you didn't one you only brought yourself time because it's going to go like carrying capacity is still a thing. It's still going to go back up. You just fixed that problem. It's going to go back up. Two is you didn't even fix the real problem, which is that some people and some things just hog more resources than everything else. Like it's not that we don't have enough food in the world. It's that some people hoard the food. Like that is fundamentally the
Exactly.
problem with humanity.
Like if you're
And
killing out the people who are smart enough to be like, oh, this is what we need to do with our
yeah,
resources, then you just kill out that person that we needed to fix a problem
right.
for your own selfish gain.
Exactly. So I think if he really wanted to solve that problem, then he would have doubled it. Like he would have been like, here's two more. Like the same problem could happen, right? It still could be that, like, say some rich billionaire goes, I'm going to take twice as much then, but there's also the chance that they just can't do it because it's too much and people figure out a way. That's my hope, but I don't think reducing it by half fixes it. I think doubling it probably is a better solution than reducing it.
Yeah, that one's a hard one because I just like, if there are less Jeff Bezoses in the world, I don't know, man.
I wasn't going to name any billionaires, but like, yes, Jeff Bezos.
I mean, I said Bezoses, so
Bezos
technically,
is not okay. Yeah,
I mean, it is the plural of Jeff Bezos,
the
but
Bezoses. Yeah,
or I should have said Beth Bezoses.
Beth Bezoses. Mm-hmm.
That would have made
Also
more
Jeff
sense.
Bezos. Yeah, I mean, hey,
Also Jeff Bezos.
just cut it out.
Yeah.
All we're asking is for you to just cut it out a little bit.
Yeah, if anything, Thanos, looking at you, I would have just cut off all the top 1% who control everything. Like what are they useful for except for just using us as pawns? But that's a different podcast. I should really chill out.
But yeah, it kind of works though. If it's a resource thing and it's like we're gonna hoard all the resources in an ecosystem, then you like are decreasing the ecosystem diversity. So I feel like if you're doing that, then that's bad. We know that's bad because it destabilizes that. It makes for a weak ecosystem if it's not diverse. If it's only
Right.
and it's like, for example, if when like grass, for example, if you only have one type of grass, then once one disease comes along, it wipes out all that grass and you no longer have grass. If you have different types of grasses, then it's harder to wipe out an entire ecosystem because it might affect one of those grasses but not all of them, and thus you still have grass.
That is a very sound argument. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for turning this into something actually useful, because that just made me think of bananas. Like how we
That's the
have
perfect,
one
yeah,
type of
exactly.
banana.
Yeah.
Like if we were to cut out the one, I guess it was a fungus that kills
I
off
think
bananas,
so.
we would still have so many different kinds of variations of bananas that we just had to, instead of choosing diversity, we chose to just GMO it all, which is fine. I mean, bananas are great, especially the kind that we have now, which are apparently berries. Sorry, that's a tangent. But
bananas are berries, really?
Yeah, apparently
I mean,
so.
that makes sense, I guess. It depends on how. That's where you get into like what is a berry conversation, I guess, which is always tough because it's like when people are like, "Is a tomato a fruit or a vegetable?"
And it's like, well, it is a fruiting body of a plant.
And I guess bananas are kind of in that same category.
Yeah, and then it's just like, okay, it's just semantics. Like,
yeah. But that's basically if you have one type of fungus that just kills one specific thing, then and that's the one thing you're relying on, then
that's really the root of the problem, not the bananas.
Right.
Gosh, Thanos, go read a book. You know what I mean?
Read a fucking book, Thanos. He makes me so mad, Jenna. I want to fight him every time I see his face. He makes me so mad. Man, I want to fight him so bad. Like anytime he talks anytime he talks, I just want to fight him. Like, first of all, you're disrespectful. 2, you're too confident. 3, you're dumb as fuck. Fight me. I just want to fight him.
Fair. All fair points.
So this is the end of the podcast. We should probably wrap it up now.
Yeah, I think once we got to fighting Thanos, I was like, we should probably
we should wrap this up. This is like when you have that one drunk friend who just once you get like they just start talking about certain things, you're like, all right, so it's time to go home. So this is B-Scientist. Jenny, you got anything else to say?
Again, I just hope that you continue to support us. I know we haven't really done deep dives lately, but we are hoping to get back into that, as well as have a few more interviews, because there are so many brilliant scientists out there. So look out for that. Continue to uplift each other. And as always, continue to be scientists.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. B-Scientist is a podcast by the Black Science Coalition and Institute. or B-SCI, a 501c3 nonprofit. B-Scientist is hosted by both Jenna Carpenter, chemist and B-SCI's Research and Development Officer, and Jordan Chapman, geoarchaeologist and B-SCI's president. Music is produced by Delaralo, and lyrics are by Jana. Special thanks to Michael, Mike, Cass, and Marshall, and the Plaza Abbey Studios. If you'd like to donate to B-SCI, visit our official website, bsci.org. That's b-sci.org. Your donation supports the B-Scientist and B-SCI's other projects. We couldn't do it without you. So, please tune in next time, and always, be scientists.